Known by many people as a sign of spring, the American robin is one of the most well-known birds across North America. With the return of spring, these birds basically become celebrities when they show up on lawns to pick around looking for worms or other forms of food. Now, since they're so popular, let's learn about these awesome birds. American robins have a pretty simple range as they can be found nearly everywhere on North America, basically from Canada down. Although they can usually only be found there, sometimes these birds have been reported showing up randomly in Europe. This usually happens mostly in the fall or winter when a storm can blow a migrating bird off course. But just to clarify, this is a very rare occurrence that a bird randomly shows up someplace it's not supposed to be. American robins are omnivorous and they eat a lot of different foods. From insects to berries to snails or earthworms, the American robin is not picky. Did you know that these birds have amazing eyesight? Well, this is one of the main ways they find food. When hunting for earthworms, American robins will stand completely still and stare intently at the ground. Sometimes they will even cock their head to the side like a dog. If you see them searching for worms, it is kind of a funny sight seeing this bird standing like a statue staring at the ground. But hey, it works! Studies have shown that American robins will often consume insects in the spring and summer, but in fall and winter they can eat mostly fruits. In fact, sometimes birders have noticed odd behaviors in the late winter or early spring. This is mostly thanks to the fermented berries that the American robins consumed. So, these birds returning from migration are so oftenly associated with the coming of spring. But this is not entirely true. American robins in the very north of their range will migrate. In fact, some of these birds may cover nearly 3,000 miles during a spring migration, returning to Alaska all the way from Iowa. But in the rest of their range, many of them don't migrate at all. But you may be saying to yourself, "Nah, these birds migrate. What are you talking about? I don't see them in the winter." That is completely true. Most likely, you won't see these guys in the winter because they tend to form larger groups which roost in trees, often found in forests rather than neighborhoods. And instead of looking for tons of insects, they look for berries. Therefore, we associate them returning back to our lawns to look for earthworms or other creepy crawlies as their diet changes, not them returning from migration. Another thing people associate with American robins is their song. Birders and non-birders alike can all recognize the sweet sound. Starting in the early morning and continuing through the afternoon, the song that goes like "cheer up, cheerly" is one of the most well-known bird songs. To produce a variety of sounds, these birds have a really complex syrinx which allows them to make a range of calls and songs. Pretty cool, right? American robins do not maintain pair bonds, so each spring they will have a new mate. In attempts to attract a mate, the male American robins will arrive at the breeding grounds and put on a show. At dawn, they start singing, fluffing their tails, shaking their wings, and puffing up their white throats in hopes to attract a female. Sometimes this may escalate to fighting between males. If a male successfully attracts a female, she will then pick out a nesting site and begin building. These sites can often be found in thickets or tree branches, but sometimes they nest on the ground or on human-made things such as lights or playgrounds. The nest is made out of straw, dried leaves, and twigs, and is usually constructed in a cup shape. Sometimes moss or mud is added to line the inside. After a nest is made, the female will lay about 3 to 5 blue eggs. Now, why blue? Well, the blue hue is caused by a pigment called biliverdin found in the shell gland. Therefore, as the shell forms, it is dyed the blue color. The concentration of this pigment affects the color, and may cause the first of the American robin's 2 or 3 broods' eggs to be more deeply blue colored than the last. After the chicks in these marvelous eggs hatch, they can leave the nest in about 14 to 16 days. Sometimes the males will continue caring for the fledglings while the female begins the second nesting attempt. American robin nests are often targeted by brown-headed cowbirds. These parasitic birds lay their eggs in the American robin's nests in hopes that the robin will care for their eggs and chicks. Although, a study found that American robins are very good at recognizing these eggs and removing them before the cowbird chicks hatch and become competition for the robin chicks. That's amazing! On average, American robins live for about 2 years, although some banded individuals lived as long as 6 to 9 years. The American robin is low concern, with some recent estimations of overall population being about 310 million. But these birds are at risk of pesticide poisoning as they forage calmly on lawns. So don't spray your lawn, as many birds, including American robins, rely on the insects and plants found there. And if they consume the chemicals, it can kill them. Well, that is all I have for you in this video. There are so many more cool things about the American robin, and if you want to see a video devoted entirely to fun facts about these birds, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're the first to know when I release a new video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time on Bird Nerd.